Hello everyone. It is Saturday, December the 16th, around noon, and I am hiking in the Nantahala Gorge recreation area of Nantahala National Forest. My hike today is to Wesser Bald, which has a lookout tower, and that would be my 21st out of 24 in the state. I parked at the Nantahala Outdoor Center, located on the Nantahala River, where the Appalachian Trail crosses through the tiny community of Wesser. It's a very popular stop in this region, has food, general store, definitely some beers, and of course is the center for all of the whitewater rafting and kayaking that you can do on the river. I'm hiking the Appalachian Trail south out of the gorge, and Wesser Bald is at least, I think, 2,800 feet above the base of the river. It's a stout climb. Round trip is around 13 miles. It is a really beautiful day so far. Crisp blue skies, sunny, pretty cold. I've been hiking close to 30 minutes trying to get above the gorge, which had no sun and was really cold, probably in the mid-20s. Now I'm a few hundred feet up, facing the south. Feels more like the mid-30s, and I think the high today is going to be in the low 40s, something like that. This last weekend, we had the big snowstorm that dropped a lot of snow in the mountains here, foot in some locations. There's still some lingering snow at this elevation, so I imagine there's going to be a lot more once I get up to Wesser Bald. It should be an awesome day, a long hike, pretty difficult. This is probably the most fun way to reach the Bald, even if it's the longest. So I'll see you at the next nice stopping point. It's been about an hour since the first video, and I've been hiking at a really good pace, I think, because so far the trail has been in really good condition, not too much erosion, and there are a lot of log steps where necessary. The last 20 minutes or so has been easily the most difficult part. Not very difficult, but it's been a steady climb up the side of Paint Mountain, and I'm around 3,400, 3,500 feet at the moment, and I started at 1,800 feet. So I've already climbed a good ways the gorge, but Wesser Bald is over 4,600 feet, so I still have at least 1,000 feet more to climb or more. But been a really nice trail. No views yet, other than what you get in the winter through the trees. But I really enjoyed the hike so far. I believe that peak through the trees there is Wesser Bald, but I haven't been able to spot the tower yet from any of my viewpoints. We'll see. I think I'm coming up on the other notable viewpoint in the next 15 minutes or so. It has been a really fun little section of the trail. Pretty precarious today because the snow is packed down and icy, and I stupidly forgot my microspikes last night. I was falling asleep and I'm like, I gotta put those in the car when I wake up, and I didn't, and I'm around 4,000 feet and there's a significant amount of ice still, so it's been a little bit slow. But this is a very cool knife edge ridge leading up to Fork Mountain. There's a viewpoint down there. I didn't break out the camera. It wasn't like a big viewpoint, but currently I'm climbing pretty steeply, and I believe that the jump up, which is the landmark that has views, is just up there. A really beautiful section. Forgot to mention that you can kind of see these trees are also really burned, just like my hike 2 weeks ago. This area was one of many across the southeast in November of 2016 that had pretty big wildfires. So a lot of this area has been scarred, but surprisingly the tower was not affected. I made it to the jump up on the north side of Fork Mountain. There might be another different view up there, but I'm gonna stop here for a moment. Pretty awesome view to the, maybe it's northwest of the Nantahala Mountains, and it seems to be the big peak right there is Nantahala Bald. I can kind of see a lighter brown spot at the summit, which would be the big grassy clearing. So that's awesome. Down there somewhere is the Nantahala Outdoor Center, way down at the bottom. I've been following the sides of Paint Mountain straight ahead, and we just have a really spectacular view of the Smokies to the north. I can't really tell some of the peaks on the left, but this massive broad summit, dead center of my view, is pretty clearly, come on, focus. That's Clingman's Dome, huge broad summit, and you can tell it's all the black balsam and spruce and fir in the last few hundred feet around the summit. It's really black. And we even have a really awesome view in the distance of the high points of the plot balsams. I finished the nice ridgeline section along Fork Mountain, and I just passed through a shallow gap down there with the junction of the Wesser Creek Trail and also a trail shelter, which can't quite see through the trees, but it's just beside the trail. And I'm in the northern shadow of Wesser Bald at the moment, and the snow is still pretty thick up here and definitely packed down. Slow going, but it's very beautiful. There's the lookout tower up ahead at the top of Wesser Bald, which is 4,626 feet and is the last big peak in the northwestern portion of the Nantahala Mountains before they end at the Nantahala River. As you can see, the tower is not your usual style. The original tower was built in 1936, but that was torn down and rebuilt in 1993 as an open top observation deck, 30 feet off the ground. It has wide open, incredible views. One of the best lookout towers in the state. From what I've read, looks like it's going to be amazing up there. I'm at the top of the Wesser Bald lookout tower, and I'm just going to let the amazing views speak for themselves. You didn't think I was gonna leave this spot without a detailed description. This is gonna be long because the views are incredible, so feel free to skip it. So I'll start due south. The Appalachian Trail drops down in the Tellico Gap about 700 feet and then climbs up to this cluster of peaks, Rocky Bald, Copper Ridge Bald, and Tellico Bald, which are all over 5,000 feet. The Appalachian Trail continues south along this dominant east-west transverse chain, Tremont Ridge. The big peak in the center there is Wine Spring Bald with the antennas. I hiked there in the spring. In the distant southwest are some peaks in Georgia. I can't really tell what they are, and the view's washed out, but I may be able to see Brasstown Bald from here if I knew what I was looking at. In the foreground, this really big dominant mountain range is the cluster of the Tuskegee Mountains and the Valley River Mountains that form the Wesser Creek Gorge, which I backpacked in January. Immediately west are the Snowbird Mountains. Dead center is Nantahala Bald or Joanna Bald, which I went up to in the spring also. And then further west, the big mountain range is the Unicoi Mountains. I believe these are the biggest of the Unicois, including Huckleberry, Knob, and Hooper Bald. And then on the right here, kind of sticking up above the Chioa Mountains, I think is Bob Stratton Bald, and then Heo Bald and the Hangover, which I backpacked in August for the solar eclipse. In the foreground here, in the north-northwest, are the Chioa Mountains. Dead center, you may be able to see a brown patch at the top. That's Chioa Bald, which I also hiked to in the spring. I'm kind of getting a theme here. I did a lot of these peaks in the past year. Many of them lookout towers. In the northwest, this is the southwestern portion of the Great Smoky Mountains. I believe the farthest peak on the left is Gregory Bald. And then this cluster of peaks may be Thunderhead Mountain, at least the tallest. I'm not quite sure about that. What I am sure about is rising high above Fontana Lake is Clingman's Dome, the third tallest peak in the east and the tallest peak in the Smokies. Looks really incredible from here. And just on the right, I think that triple hump peak is probably Mount LeConte. And then I can't really tell what these peaks are to the right of LeConte, but I believe the big peak in the distance here is Mount Guyot. If I keep going towards the northeast, get an incredible view of the biggest peaks of the Plot Balsams. I can see a lot of snow still remaining on Water Rock Knob on the left. In the foreground here, towards the east, you might be able to make out the communications towers on Cowie Bald, which I also went to in the spring with a lookout tower. And then easily one of the most impressive views is in the distant east of the Great Balsam Mountains. I think dead center is Richland Balsam, which I hiked to in October. And then to the east-southeast are the largest of the Cowie Mountains above the Little Tennessee River Valley. I'm not really sure. These two peaks here, I think that is Yellow Mountain on the left and Short Off Mountain on the right, with the big gap in the middle, Yellow Mountain Gap. And then you can see on the right there, there's a mountain with a big drop-off. That's probably Whiteside Mountain. Phenomenal views. This is easily one of the best views I've been to in North Carolina. thought I would film a closing segment before it gets dark for the first time in my past 3 hikes. It's around 5:30. I think I only have 20 minutes left, but I'm only a few days away from winter solstice, and I'm on the north side of the big mountains, so light is fading really fast. So I don't want to do this in the dark again. Anyways, it was an amazing day. It's going to probably be around 13 miles like the books say, and it's going to take me 6 hours and 15 minutes roughly, but that specific information you'll find at the bottom of my video info as usual. I think the elevation gain's a little bit more than the tracks have said. I read it as 28 or 2,900, and it's about 1,800 at the base, 4626 at the summit. So that's 2,800 right there, not taking into account all the other ups and downs along the ridgeline. So it's probably going to be closer to 3,200 feet, but it's not that difficult in terms of other 13, 14 mile a day hikes that I've done in the state. Highly recommend it. Really good backpacking trip because there's a trail shelter and camp area about a mile below the summit. So it's a really good overnight option. And I could not have picked a more perfect day to visit Wesser Bald with the incredible skies that we have after the snowstorm cleared everything out. This is similar to a few other open top observation towers I've been to in the state. Mount Mitchell, Flat Top, and Moore's Knob. But I would say this is probably the best view. It's you have a 360 view of a lot of mountain ranges that are as big or bigger. And I always like that feeling of being on a big mountain, but not the biggest, because you get views of big ones all around you. I don't like those mountaintop views where everything is below you and that's all you can see. So highly recommend it. Easily one of my favorite viewpoints in the state now. And my new t-shirt worked out pretty well. It's a REI quarter zip tech shirt. It's just 100% polyester. I usually wear medium base layers, and some of mine have been feeling pretty tight lately, maybe because I've gained a few pounds on my stomach in the last couple of years. And my main issue is the tighter base layers kind of roll up under my backpack pretty quickly. And so I was looking for some mediums and larges that were a little bit looser and had a little bit more length. And although I was looking for a bright orange, red, green, or yellow shirt for hunting and safety reasons, this was on sale for $24. Really hard to pass up, and I'm pleased with it. I wore it over an icebreaker wool top, and that's usually just my 1-2 combination for 25 to 35 degrees. Just a one shirt and a one pullover shirt. And if you work hard, that's really all you need, unless you stop for a while or if you're going downhill for a long time. And when that happens, I put on this windstopper vest by Mountain Hardware, and that just adds a little bit of insulation and windbreak without, bunching up my arms and closing off the breathability to my armpits. So you'll see me pretty minimalistic in terms of clothing on these winter day hikes, but it gets me by. If I'm backpacking, I'll bring a little bit more for precaution, but overall, great hike. See the sunset off to my left. I should get back in 15 minutes or so. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll be out on the trail tomorrow.